Deputy Coppinger.
Last Count Corl, I too want to use this opportunity to bring home the real plight of horrendous cases of family homelessness that my constituency office is dealing with. I'm just picking out 3 for the Minister today to show the impact on families and on young people in particular. So the first one is a mother and 6 children living in one room for the last year and a half. Minister, why is that happening? That a mother with 3 boys and 3 girls, with bunk beds, double beds, the whole lot in one room, and that's allowed to continue. These are all families dealing with Fingal County Council. And they're HAPS eligible, but there's a big problem. There isn't any HAPS, especially for families that are slightly bigger. Like, landlords don't want families. They don't want children. They don't, And the reason I found it hard to restrain myself last Count Corl is 5 years ago I got elected in a by-election. And the first bill to come through the Dáil that I was involved in was Minister O'Sullivan at the time bringing in this HAPS situation. And without being interrupted, this is just factual. We made the point. Made the point that this would become, people are being evicted from HAPS now, but also 23 billion extra will be spent over 30 years paying private landlords through HAPS when social housing could be built. That's been proved by NUI Maynooth. I want to talk about the second family that I know of. So they are living in a B&B in Gardiner Street. Yeah, but by the way, all these families became homeless from where? The private rented sector, for the very reasons pointed out in Solidarity's bill that you won't adopt, which is banning evictions for sale of a property. It's still continuing every single day. And the taxpayer footing the bill because of your failure, your unwillingness to take on private landlords. So this family had the house repossessed by the landlord, living in a car in the Phoenix Park for over a month because of their difficulty trying to get Fingal County Council to accept that they needed hotel accommodation. And I want to talk about the harassment of homeless families that's taken place. And I've evidence to back it up, Minister. I'll happily send it to your office. The latest scenario is families, certainly with Fingal, I don't know if this is the policies with other councils, are only being given 2 weeks in a hotel. They will only be given 2 weeks security of tenure. The 2 weeks finish up. The hotel owner has to say, look, I can't get Fingal to renew it. The family have to show Fingal County Council all evidence that they've been looking for HAP properties. Why? Are you suggesting they're enjoying themselves living in a hotel in one room, Minister? Why is this policy being happening? As if they're having fun being homeless. There isn't any HAPs. But yeah, real Tory, British Tory policy forced them to show the impossible. And then when the family asked for a meeting with somebody in the housing department to discuss their situation, because families are abandoned. If they don't let the council know their situation, they're just left there. They were told, why do you want a meeting? And I've all the emails to prove this. Why do you want a meeting? Why do you think they want a meeting? They'd like to see if there's any prospect of getting out of the situation they're in. And all of these families have to pay for storage facilities, by the way, for their possessions while they're waiting to, that they once had, on top of takeaways, that they have to live on forever. Now, you've known this it was going on 5 years ago in Blanchardstown. I highlighted umpteen cases. It's not new. You've known, you don't care. You're not going to do what needs to be done. The third family I'd like to highlight have been homeless since July 2018. They were renting a house for 8 years. As for Jesus, the landlord had to sell. It was absolutely vital. So the family get kicked out. They got sent to Drogheda for some reason. Then they ended up in Ashbourne, even though their children attend school in Blanchardstown. So the 5 children, now they have 2 rooms. Some of these families are lucky enough to have 2 rooms, not just one. Again, no cooking facilities, living on takeaways. But the gas thing for this family is they have to stay when they drop their children to school. They can't afford the petrol to be driving back, to Ashbourne and all these places. So they have to stick around to the Blanchardstown area. So they go to one of the community centres, like the Parslickstown one, and avail of some help that the people are given there. They have to stay in the area. Now, I would like to ask you, Minister, why are families being harassed to prove that they're looking for accommodation? You know, do you think they really seriously think that they're having a great time in these B&Bs and in these hotels? And I want you to give a commitment that you'll contact councils that that is not to be done. Like, it's causing real distress to people, real serious distress. I was in my constituency office yesterday afternoon. I talked to this man that my councillors and people who work with me have been dealing with. And he was just so angry and frustrated at the experience of having had to live in the Phoenix Park in a car. I want to say something about period poverty. His wife and his daughter were having their periods in the car, blood on the seats of the car in the Phoenix Park. You know, so that's period poverty for you. Minister, are you ever going to build public homes on public lands to the scale that's needed to take these families out of their misery?